Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Eating While Broke. I'm your host, Coline Witt, and today we have the McLegacies of all McLegacies. Before I even introduce this amazingly special guest, I have to let you guys know that I have tried to get this interview for at least a year, not because I've reached out and actually broke contact to this special guest. It's because I've literally had to stalk, research, watch so many interviews, and I try not to do this, but I am so impressed with this special guest right here. I've been telling my whole team, and everyone who watches the show knows I am absolutely more excited over entrepreneurs than celebrities. Unfortunately, sorry for my celebrities. But today we have special guests. Kerrie Harper-Howey is in the building. And not only is she, are you the largest McDonald's franchise owner in the state of California? I keep saying that. I think you guys.
In the state of California, African American, yes.
Yes. Yes. She gonna wear that hat. She is 21 McDonald's restaurants are owned by Kerrie Harper-Howey and her family, her mother and her sister, 3 minority women. This was a huge feat in the timing and the whole structure. But the cool thing about Kerrie here is her story is definitely untraditional. But she has released a book, which led me to her, called The Family Secret. So if you guys are interested in hearing more, you can go ahead and look up The Family Secret online, Google, Amazon. You can find it. That is how I found her. We are going to get into The Family Secret. First, starting with the broke dish that y'all had before you had 21 McDonald's. So what will you have me eating today?
Okay, so this is a dish that my sister and I used to make back in the day, eons ago. And as I shared with you, I don't remember the last time I made this dish, so I'm hoping that I can pull it off. But it was such that meal that my sister and I would go to that we thought was so delicious and so cool. So today I'm going to make for you mustardy cheddar hot dogs. And I asked for these bags of chips because that was always the side we always had in our house. We were definitely not making fries. We weren't even baking frozen fries. We were not doing anything special, but we always had a box of variety chips. So we're gonna do mustardy cheddar hot dogs and chips.
Okay, so that makes sense. I threw in ketchup because I said she must have forgot some ketchup up in here. But go ahead. It's okay. So since you had that surprise, I switched out your hot dogs for turkey hot dogs just from, the sanity of my stomach. So surprise. Anyways, Go ahead. Make your mustard cheese hot dogs. I was sitting there looking at the recipe and the ingredients, said maybe she want Velveeta. And I said, but usually people that want Velveeta cheese say Velveeta. So we want to see what, so take me back.
Okay.
Take me all the way back to life when you and your sister almost burnt down the house making these hot dogs.
So my sister and I were born and raised in Inglewood. My sister still lives in the house that we grew up in eons ago. Yes. And
that's crazy to think. 21 McDonald's later.
I mean, we take a lot of pride in living and existing and moving and supporting the communities where we live. And so, if you got a perfectly good house that works fine and suits your purposes, there's no real reason for it not to still be in your family,
and
right?
Did you guys own it back then? Or were you renting it?
I literally came home from the hospital to this house. My parents, before they became McDonald's franchisees, my dad was a cop and my mother was a social worker. So they both had good government jobs.
Wow.
And they were able to afford to buy this house on this very small street in Inglewood, California.
I'm just curious, and you could share or not share, but, Inglewood has gentrified and is, buying a house over there is impossible. I am genuinely curious how much they bought that house for then, and how much is it worth today?
So when I was growing up, my mom especially, was like, kids know what kids know and grown-ups know what grown-ups know. So I'm gonna be honest and say, I honestly and truly never knew. What I can tell you though, is we have lived there long enough and remodeled, renovated, changed things, etc., that we have not completely paid it off. So we have pulled money out, which is the beauty of real estate as an investment, right? Is you can use it, and over time, you can allow yourself to reinvest in yourself, to beautify the space that you're in through taking money out of your house and then paying for that mortgage. So it's not paid off even 40 plus years later.
So that's like basically saying that the house is gorgeous right now.
We think it is beautiful.
Yeah,
it works
sounds
for us.
beautiful.
And quite honestly, my mother has Alzheimer's. And so what that means is that we have been able to change the space to create a little mini apartment for her inside the house in a place that's familiar to her. Because if, as you may know, with Alzheimer's patients, for them, everything familiar is better. So if they can really and truly be in a place where they know, okay, around this corner is my bedroom, then that is very helpful to them. That's another reason why I feel especially blessed that we've held on to the house, because we didn't know that our mom was going to develop Alzheimer's, but I'm so glad that she's able to be in a space that's been familiar to her for so long.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to the naming of this episode is going to be McLegacy, because you guys definitely, like, even just saying that you kept this house shows that you guys value this family culture that you guys have kind of, or your parents kind of, you guys as a whole built. So you and your sister, at the time, when you're doing this, are they cops and would your mom do social worker?
Social worker. So my parents got involved in the early 1980s. So this would have been even after we had McDonald's. But as you can imagine, if you're going from a career where you're used to catching criminals or helping families, you don't know anything about McDonald's or being your own business owner or anything like that. So they were a lot of times away from home. So my sister and I would be home by ourselves, and we had to figure out how we were going to eat, because unlike my very coddled children who are left with meals and all that other kind of stuff, my mother was like, figure it out. And we did. And so this was one of the things that we knew that we could cook that would taste good. We're not, as a restaurateur, I don't know that we were thinking about this, but there's no food safety issues. You can, I feel pretty sure, although I honestly don't remember, I think we would have probably cooked the hot dogs in the microwave. I don't know that we were necessarily using the stovetop, but
Hey, in here, there's no microwave, so I like it.
No microwave, so I'm making it work.
How hard was it? Do you know at least the history of like what it took for your parents to get a McDonald's?
Absolutely.
And how did they stumble upon the opportunity?
So at the time, my mother's only sister, her name is, or she's my Auntie Jane. She was, and her husband were franchisees at the time. They were in the San Diego market, and they were in franchising even longer than my mom. And so my parents were like, we have our good government job, so we're not tripping. And at some point in time, there was an African-American regional manager who at the time was responsible for finding franchisees. Well, he, as well as McDonald's as a corporation, they were looking to increase the number of Black franchisees. So when he met my aunt became an approved operator, and I think he met my mother and proposed the idea. They were kind of like, okay. And so they both cashed in the retirement at their good government jobs. And your eyes just got big, because it was a big deal.
That's a high risk move. Okay.
That's a very high risk move, right? They cashed in their retirements and bought their first restaurant. Now, my sister and I were young girls at the time. So it was really, it was a big deal. It was a big risk, but somehow they had the courage to do it.
That's a lot. Now I don't want to skip forward, but I'm gonna. So did that amount of pressure play a role in possible separation later on?
No. So
Okay.
their separation was very specifically around my father being a gambling addict. And I do talk about this very openly in my book. My father was a gambler for years. And while my mom knew that he liked to go to the racetrack and, bid on horses, she never realized that it had developed into a habit that he couldn't control. And so, as you can imagine, this day and age, we are very used to walking into a bank. Shoot, at this point, right, we do Apple Pay, or people weren't using a lot of credit cards back in the early 1980s. They were using a lot of cash. And so my father, being a gambling addict, surrounded by cash, would literally take whole envelopes of money from the register that should go into the bank, right, and be deposited in building McDonald's money. Which,
oh no, Papa, no.
Papa, yes.
Dang.
Papa said yes. And so basically, he gambled away a lot of money. It was, I'll say, to put it briefly, it was a very, very large financial infidelity. I'm just going to put that there. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And so my mom was not able to forgive that. She was not able to get past the fact that he had, I think for her, honestly, I don't know if it was so much like he's been financially unfaithful to me, as how could you be so selfish as to potentially ruin the lives of your wife, but even more importantly, your daughters.
Yeah.
We've done this. We've taken this risk so that your daughters could have something more than we ever thought we could have. And she just could not get past that. And so she didn't. And then, so then she decided to divorce him. Now, as you can imagine, they're Black franchisees. This is the mid to late 1990s. And
how long were they in the franchise business
at that
this
point? Somewhere in the range of 7 or 8 years. I don't know exactly, because I'll say this. I'm pretty sure I was in 6th grade.
Okay.
So somewhere in 6th grade, you're around 10 or 11. So around the mid to late 80s, they had been in around 7 or so years. Okay. 6 or 7 years.
And they only owned one at the time, or two?
They owned 2 at the time.
Yeah, that's high pressure she's under too. Yeah.
Right? So she was, appropriately unable to forgive that. Fine. So she was prepared to leave him. The issue is that she was a Black woman in the 1980s with 2 young daughters.
Yeah.
And so she had to figure out, one, is McDonald's going to let me even continue? Because the way that they all found out was we were on a vacation. We used to go to Lake Havasu with a bunch of other cops and their families. We were on vacation. They called her and said, your bills have not been paid.
Oh, heck no. Yeah, see.
So he's gambling.
Sorry, baby.
And if there's one thing any corporation like McDonald's is going to not go for, they're not going for their bills not being paid. So
just to backtrack, for everyone that doesn't know, can you do like a brief breakdown of McDonald's? I have an idea that what it is, but definitely not nearly as much knowledge as you do. So just do a snapshot so people understand why you guys would be paying McDonald's bills.
Yes. So in franchising, you have to pay what's called a franchising fee or a royalty.
Here, just use this knife before you burn your fingertips.
Oh, yeah.
Stab it.
All right. Thank you. So you have to pay a royalty in order to be in business. And so he was not paying that royalty fee. All that cash, unfortunately, was going to support his gambling habit. And so, and of course there's a variety of other bills. So we have vendors. Some of those vendors if McDonald's pays the vendors first, we will pay McDonald's back. Or the vendor is calling McDonald's saying, hey, we haven't gotten paid for food in a certain amount of time. Shoot. Can you go to your owner operator and find out what's going on? Because one of the biggest things that we're specifically held accountable to as franchisees is paying our bills on time. Like that is, there are franchising standards. That's one of them. Pay your bills on time.
And is this did McDonald's have a McDonald's University back then?
It's called Hamburger University.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. HU.
I did a little bit of research. Come on.
All right.
Okay.
I'm a proud graduate of that HU, right?
Okay.
And so
how many years is HU?
HU is a week.
Oh, it's a week? Is it a week? I thought it was going to be 2 years. It's a week?
I'm going to give you details how that works out.
Okay. So wait. Backtrack. So your mom is on vacation with the cops.
Mom's on vacation.
She gets
all
a
of
call.
it. We're all on vacation.
Okay. She gets a call.
She gets the call.
Uh-huh.
The call says, you have not been paying your bills.
Uh-huh.
And she says, holy stuff, holy pajoli.
Uh-huh.
And she then, I don't think we left the trip, but I think because it was kind of like, oh, surely this cannot be the case. Like, that's not, would you like ketchup on yours?
I'm going to do it the way you do it first.
Okay.
I want to live the whole experience.
Yes. So I don't have enough cheese. I'm going to grate a little more cheese. But so then we get back. We realize that the bills, in fact, she realized, because I didn't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
She realized at the time that, in fact, the bills had not been paid and that McDonald's was mad about it. And so it becomes a question of, well, what happens? Do they just kick the whole family out? My mom, because she's amazing, was able to convince McDonald's to let her stay in the business, and that it was my father, who was the gambler, who should be kicked out.
Wow.
And they agreed to that. And so, people have a lot of things to say about McDonald's, and everybody has their own story experience. One of my biggest feelings about McDonald's is gratitude for giving my mother, a single woman at the time, a chance to prove that she was more than what her husband had done to her.
Wow.
And so, and the reason why that feels so palpable to me especially is because she did have to take steps to buy my father out, because, he was a co-owner of the business.
And did she have to pay off all that debt too?
Well, she did, not immediately, because she couldn't.
Yeah.
But your question is a good one. She had to get financing to be able, I'm going to turn this as low as possible. She had to get financing to be able to buy him out and put herself in a position to repay this debt.
So she had to even get into even more debt.
Yes.
Jeez, she had to really believe in herself too, right?
And have the fortitude and as you're grieving your marriage, grieving
tough.
the vision that you had for your life, you're caring for your daughters who are so young and basically don't know anything, and so it's.
And at the time, did you guys see her in any emotional distress, or was she like a gangster?
She was an absolute gangster. I'm gonna tell you about that in a second.
Okay.
But what I want to get back to your question of, the reason why I keep harping on Black single woman is because my mom went to bank after bank trying to get the financing to dig herself out of this hole. And bank after bank after bank said no. They would not give her money. And in fact, one of them, when she walked in, said to her, "Where is your husband?" And she said, "I don't have one." And they were like, "There's nothing we can do for you."
Wow.
Until one day, she walked into the Culver City branch. It was either Culver City or Baldwin Hills branch of Wells Fargo Bank. And
Shout out to Wells Fargo.
There was a Black woman there named Mona Mays. And my mom laid it all on the line for Mona. And Mona said, okay. And she was able to get my mom the financing that she needed to move on. Buy my dad out, get herself right with McDonald's, and plan for a future where she paid off the debt, just like you said.
Holy cow. And she had to go through multiple.
Shout
outs to Wells Fargo for that. I had read that, and I was like, I even called Wells trying to get your contact. It was like, girl, if you don't get off my phone with this.
But it's true.
That's amazing.
It's a true story.
And that was no disrespect to the banks, but that was hard time too as a black woman. She wasn't even white. She was definitely like the opposite of, and a McDonald's is almost like a for sureable, when someone comes in with a McDonald's loan, I heard those are like, yes, so she had to go through all that to still fight and press on. Yeah, she's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I like that you do rep the fact that she was a single mom. I just became a single mom, and boy, them days be hard.
Yeah.
Especially handling it with grace.
Right.
Because they love to be out there well, she was a bitter or whatever, but to handle it with grace in a situation where it was to be honest, unfair.
Yeah. And she, I can say with total honesty, never badmouthed my dad. We've only over the years kind of gotten details out of her about what happened. She wasn't trying to like harp on anything bad about him. She was just like, it's me now, and you know, we're rolling. And so we were lucky at the time. We had a woman. She was our babysitter, and babysitter to Minnie. And so we spent a lot of time in her house. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like my mom had to really be physically present in those restaurants a lot. And I think that's really kind of where learning how to cook things like this came from. Ooh.
Wow. Oh my God. Can the camera see
They
that?
look cheesy.
I don't know if they can see it. That is crazy.
That looks yummy, huh?
That
It's been
looks
a long time.
official. Do you feel? Just sidebar. We have to name drop this. What was the? Can you just tell us like 30 seconds about this Chopped winning situation?
Okay, so I was in Washington, D.C. at this amazing event called the Family Reunion. And there was a chopped style, not chopped, but chopped style competition, mystery baskets, 3 rounds, the whole 9. And I was on a team with 4 people, including my sister and this other wonderful woman I was on the other panel with, and then a total stranger. And we won. We were the overall chop champions.
Yes. And I only had to shout that out because this is something that I haven't even tried it, but I'm going to make it for my daughter. Ooh. I'm going to do Doritos.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'll take those sour cream and onion.
This looks like something my daughter would absolutely love because she just loves cheese.
Yeah.
I'll give her spaghetti and it'll just be like, can I have more cheese? But this is all gooey. The bread is toasted, which I do like. The other thing I love about this is she used butter. And if you know anything about me, I use a stick of butter like every 2 days. It's really bad. This is why I have fat over my abs. But this is gooey, cheesy, and you put the mustard underneath. So I am dying to try it. I'm going to let it sit for like 2 seconds.
It's a little hot.
It's hot. It's hot. But before I take a bite into it, let's go back. So your mom successfully handles this transaction. You guys have no idea. Babysitters are stepping in. Is your father still in the picture, kinda, or does he like do a Houdini?
He pretty much does a Houdini.
Doesn't that suck? I'm sorry.
Yes.
That happened to me in my situation. I'm like, why? Because then it's like double the responsibility, right?
Yeah. I obviously cannot speak for my father. He is deceased now. I think he was ashamed. And I think that shame can be a lot, not excusing his absence, but I think he was just very embarrassed. And because not only did he mess everything up financially for my mother, sister, and I, but he had borrowed from friends, from family. Like it was an addiction. And so I don't treat that any differently than a drug addiction that makes people make really bad decisions. But I just think he, as they said, my mom got the friends. My mom got the life. She got the businesses. She got the kids. She got everything. And he just kind of, crawled away into obsolescence. I think Nicole's my sister, one of our shared regrets in life is that somewhere we lived together after she had already graduated from college. We both went to college in the Bay Area, and we lived together. And we had reached out to a friend of his and gotten his phone number. And we had his phone number on our kitchen refrigerator. And we were planning to reach out to him really just in the spirit of, we're doing great. How are you? Like we hadn't spoken to him in years, and he died before we had a chance to reach out to him. And so I wish that we had reached out to him and reestablished that connection. Before I had my first son, I remember talking to my husband, and I was like, babe, what do dads do? I feel like I don't really know what dads do. And, he was definitely around until middle elementary, 6th or 7th grade, but I certainly never got a chance to develop a relationship with him as a teen, as a college student, as an adult, all those things. And I think we both wish that we had.
So he never touched base again?
No.
And then how did your mom, what story did she come up with to make you guys palate it?
So I think the worst, or not, I won't say the worst, but probably one of the most difficult pieces of it that we never talked about it. There was no acknowledgement that we should have feelings about the fact that my parents were divorcing. I talk about this in the book.
So
So
like
this
it
is
wasn't
all-
even like, but there was.
Let me tell you exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
We came home from wherever, school, the babysitters, wherever. And my mom said, your dad and I are getting divorced. And we said, so that means dad, or I think I said, so dad's not going to live here anymore? And she said no. And then I started crying for a few minutes. And then my sister started crying. And then my mom started crying.
Mm-hmm.
And then we all stopped crying. And we literally never spoke of it ever again.
Now, but I can't imagine you. There was something you said earlier in our interview that kind of makes sense of why maybe you guys, but I know, look at my little daughter. She's 3. She goes through phases of missing her dad, and she's like very expressive. Like, I miss daddy or whatever. It's really kind of sad. It's actually sad. And, I try to make like, I miss too. But was your space, because earlier in the interview you said, my mom was the type that this is adult conversation or kid. Do you feel like you didn't feel comfortable enough to say, hey, I miss my dad, where is he? Or were you having those conversations, she was like, adult kid?
So I've had enough therapy to know that I didn't know how to verbalize that I missed my dad. And also I think for whatever, and this is going to sound crazy, my mom would not have been a person that I would have gone to express those feelings. She was not, and I said she is wonderful in many ways, but emotionally available, she is not. So we didn't live in a household where we were hugging and kissing. It wasn't abusive, but it wasn't affectionate either verbally or physically.
Okay.
And so it wasn't, I never went to my mom like, oh, this guy just broke my heart, or oh, I'm going shopping for a prom dress. My mom wasn't a part of that.
Was your
it just
dad
wasn't
that person?
Mm-mm.
Oh, so it was like that was your
our household
culture. That was your household culture.
That was our household culture.
That's I could only imagine how difficult that would be. Because I mean, just because I'm just a new mom and I see my daughter very much expressive, like, come on, daddy, I saw a fly, show him, like, what I'm saying? Like, my goodness, girlfriend. But it makes sense if culturally in this household, I grew up in a house where my mom didn't hug us. So it was like, that was just the norm. I longed for her. So now this poor child is a hugger, cuddler, and I love you.
Right.
But I get it. So it doesn't sound crazy. It just sounds like it's unfortunate that you guys had to experience that.
Yeah. And like I said, I've been lucky enough to have enough therapy. I think the biggest impact for us, and I talk about this very, I think, rationally, because in my experience, I've really had to learn how to connect with feelings, because I never,
you grew up disassociated from it, right?
Disassociated from feel. Like we never, so last night, my youngest son is being baptized at the end of this month. We had a conversation with the pastor and his wife of that church. And they said, Cyrus, how are you feeling? And he said, nervous, but I feel okay. And they were like, glad that you were able to. My kids have lots of emotional language. My mom wasn't acknowledging that I was sad or angry or fearful. We didn't have conversations around emotional language. And she certainly didn't express those things to us. So you asked me, how did she handle it? She didn't know how to handle it any other way than a Jeep. She put her head down. She's like, I'm about to save this whole situation. I'm taking care of my daughters.
Did you ever see her cry?
In that moment where she said,
oh, the divorce.
But other than that, no.
Did you and your sister have those? I have a twin sister.
Oh,
Shout outs to Rebecca.
That's always exciting to those of us who don't have twins. It's so cool.
It's not that exciting, guys. It's only exciting if you look alike. But did you and your sister talk about those emotions at all? Or at the time were you just so disassociated you didn't know what those feelings how to identify those feelings.
Over time, yes. We've grown up to start having those conversations, but we weren't like little girls in the room because we shared a room for a long time. But we were not little girls in the room saying, oh, do you wish that mom would hug you? Or we didn't know.
Or I miss
It was
dad.
just, or no.
Jeez, that's
I
a
know,
lot, man.
I know. And it
Damn.
sounds
Yeah.
crazy to say out loud, but I can't be anything other
I don't
than
think
honest
it
with
sounds crazy. I think there's people out there that can relate, and I'm glad you're open enough and you've done enough work to say it, because people go through this even in 2024. I mean, mental health is still brand new to
Yes.
the world, but it's just crazy to think about the family legacy and still see these pockets of what's the word? Like passed on little demons, kind of. I don't know the word
Excuse
that I
me.
would use, but generational.
I mean, a
something.
part of it is trauma. And the
Yeah.
reason why I say trauma, excuse me, I one time asked my mom, what, and this was relatively advanced in her journey with Alzheimer's, but she was at this time much more kind of aware, and she's aware and alert, but she definitely, her illness continues to increase, right? And so I asked her, I forget the exact question, but something along the lines of, what was your life like when you were young? Or like, what did you and your brothers and sisters were, or how do you feel like the emotional things were happening in your household? And her response to me was, when my brothers and sisters left the house, I was not even sure that they would come home safely, because we lived in New Orleans in the 1940s and 50s, and your family members sometimes would just disappear. So we weren't developing connections. We couldn't afford to be hyper emotionally connected. And that really, I was like, this makes a lot of sense to me, because I can look at my mother and all of her siblings and see they are wonderful and loving people. But my generation, me and our cousins, we are so much more effusively, emotional when it comes to connecting with each other than all of my mom and her parents. I don't know how we've all kind of started to break that cycle, but it's so clear to me where it starts, and that this is really a part of the African American systemic racist experience. That we
Wow.
carry that, and you and I, we're moms, my kids are older than yours, but we're moms raising the same generation of kids, and our kids will have a very different experience. I don't know if you've had therapy, but I have. My husband has. And so we now know how important it is. When I make a mistake, I apologize to my kids.
That's me.
Right?
Yes. And I think also people need to remember, apology is the best way to end an argument. Like y'all gonna be arguing mad all day, and apology will reset it to it's the best hidden secret. Accountability, same thing. I did it, I'm sorry, won't happen again, or I'll try to do better, or I can't do better, or whatever. But accountability and apology is probably the easiest way to end nagging, drama, arguing, everything.
Right.
And people like, for what? But I am curious, and this is a sidebar, and we got to go back to your story because I want to hear about it. But as a mom, I feel like what makes me resilient, and probably makes you and your sister resilient, I'm going to use the word resilient, and your mother resilient, is probably the hardship that you had to go through. When I look at my teeny bopper, and I heard you say coddled your kid, it came from your mouth, okay? I don't know your kid, but do you feel like, and I'm deathly afraid of this, is I want my daughter to have this resilience, this like grit, right? But baby girl, I mean, she already showing signs of coddled. She has the best or whatever, and I take pride in it because we come from nothing. But are you fearful that the coddling will take away that resilience? Is it possible to love and create that grit of resilience? Is it even possible?
So because I think about this often. And even, so my husband and I were moving, and we were like, should we stay here in this slightly grittier community, or do we move to this slightly more upscale community? What do we want our kids to experience? What is it going to mean? So I said that's one example of all the different ways that I think about and I worry about how my kids, especially my boys, I have 2 Black boys that I'm raising, what does it look like? And so the way that I resolve this issue for me is, one, I do try to make sure that I build in moments of, shall we say, the need for resilience in our household. So our boys, they start with chores, and maybe 10 is a little bit late, so don't yell at me if 10 is too late. They start with chores at 10, laundry, trash, all that stuff that they're responsible for, that they have to be willing to earn, right? Also try to build in some amount of like financial accountability, so they do get an allowance. They're not allowed to spend outside of it unless they get money for a birthday. My son has an Apple Watch. He bought it with his own birthday money. I'm not buying you an Apple Watch because you don't need one, and I'm not spending that much money on a device for a kid. You got the birthday money, you have at it. You go for it. But I'm not doing that. And so I do try to make sure I draw some financial boundaries so they don't just think, oh, whatever it is, I can get it and it's all good. But at the end of the day, my kids, as was I, because I went to a private school from 7th through, really out my whole life, but an elite private school from 7th through 12th grade. My kids are going to have a similar experience, and their peers' parents have the privilege to not think about these things. And yet their kids grow up with a level of accountability and resilience in some way, shape, or form, because they do go on to do things, right? They go on to be professionals and have careers and go to college and be responsible. So I feel like I'm probably just raising a child that may be more similarly situated to some of their peers, not completely, because trust me, we were doing our first sleepover at a friend's house, and I'm driving there like, hey, you see this neighborhood? This ain't our neighborhood. You see their house and how we don't live like that. So don't go in there touching, looking, feel. You have a different life than a lot of these kids, but they perhaps get to experience more of the creature comforts than you and I did. But they're going to see things, and they're going to know that they're different. One, because of the color of their skin, and two, I don't know how you're living, but I'm not living like the people where I took my son to this house.
Okay.
And so, I think that there are moments in time where your kids are going to have to, regardless, they're going to have to navigate these situations in a variety of different ways. And that's going to build resilience in ways that I think you're not giving yourself or your child credit for.
I hope so. 3 years old, I'm getting lectures from the friends saying, Cole, come on, man. You about to create a monster. All right, let's take a bite of this. I didn't want the cheese to get this cold, but let's try it. Okay. Cheers. I put way too much bread on the first one. I'm not giving you credit yet. I'm not giving you credit yet.
Well, you complain about these turkey hot dogs, but they are good.
I want to get the mustard and the cheese together.
And the cheddar.
I ain't gonna lie, this is great, but I want more of the,
I'm happy.
Oh, this is great. I can see why you didn't do the ketchup.
It's the mustard and cheese.
Wow. That's good. For you listeners, sorry, hold on. I'm trying to swallow. This is good.
I don't know if I gave you my list of ingredients. You want me to give you while you're taking your sip?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we kind of talked about it as we went along, but your simple ingredients are going to be hot dogs. You could, if you're a vegan, I guess you could do vegan dogs, or you can do, we have some turkey dogs and we have some classic dogs here. I prefer a block of cheddar cheese that you grate. I'm not going to lie, when we were growing up, we had pre-shredded cheese, but I prefer freshly grated cheese, so I asked for a block of cheese, regular old French's yellow mustard, and a hot dog bun of your choice. those are really all 4 ingredients.
But I want to highlight that she toasted the bread in butter, both sides. Okay, that makes a huge world of a difference. So you out there in your cabinets at home, pulling out some cold ass bread and putting some cheese on it, it's not gonna work. She put the mustard directly on the hot dog. Then she put the shredded cheddar on top. Re-put it in the pan, heated it up so it melted over the mustard. Brilliantly done.
Thank
I feel like a celebrity chef. I mean, what do you call it? The person that judges them. Back to your story. Let's go back to the legacy. Sorry to sidetrack with the parenting thing. I'm still in the new mom trying to figure out.
I like
Pray to
it.
Jesus I don't raise a monster. But back to your mom's story. Your dad's been gone for a while. Your mom, I'm assuming, pays off the debts, gets in good graces. How many restaurants does she have at this point?
So, mom eventually had an opportunity that was presented to her to sell her 2 high volume in slightly wider areas, Culver City adjacent, and then about a mile or so away on what was then Rodeo and La Brea. Sell those 2 higher volume restaurants and buy restaurants in Compton and Linwood area. And she decided to do that. So in 1995,
Why was she encouraged to do that?
she was offered the opportunity to, because first of all, it's a little bit easier at times to run an organization with a larger number of restaurants. These current times we're in, very, very challenging for a variety of reasons. We are able to survive as an organization and literally float, sinking a little bit, because it's such hard times because of the size of our organization. When you're a smaller number of restaurants operator, it's difficult. You can't spread the losses out as wide.
Okay.
And also for mom, it was important to her that she demonstrate to anybody out there that a restaurant in a predominantly Black and brown community can be as successfully run, as profitable, and as reputable as a restaurant in an area that's Culver City adjacent.
But I'm just curious, why was it important for them to say give up these 2 for those 2?
Because that was the finances of the deal. Those 2 restaurants were worth about the same as these other 5.
Oh, it was 2 for 5.
Correct.
Oh, okay. That's okay. That's where I got lost.
Sorry,
like 2 for 2.
No.
What's going on?
No,
okay.
I'm sorry. I may have misspoken. I'm sorry. So she sold 2
for
and bought 5. Yes.
Oh, well, go ahead, mama. Be a CEO. Be a boss. That sounds like a good deal. Okay, so she did. Okay.
So from there, she steadily grew. Now, I was very happy. I knew since the 10th grade I wanted to be a lawyer. I didn't have any interest in the businesses.
Like when she came home and said, you got to do a shift. Did you ever have to do a shift at McDonald's?
She never required us to work in the restaurants. I did choose to work there the summer between 10th and 11th grade. And I was apparently pretty slow and, kind of a mess. But, I did it. I wanted to earn some extra cash. And so I did. But she never even asked us to come in and take over the business. She was very much like, I got this and I'm cool. And if you're ever interested, sure. But she never pushed us. And that's a big part of what I talk about in my book, which is important for family businesses. If you want to really establish something that you want to transfer to another generation or even just another family member, it's got to be that person's choice. It can't be compulsion. Or you just end up building resentment. They feel like they have lost opportunities. They haven't gotten out of their system what their true passions were, and then they're coming to join the family business by choice because they want to. It's not an act of desperation, for example.
Now, with your case, since you did try out a job at McDonald's, were you like, oh, hells to the no?
Exactly.
And then you was like, lawyer it is?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was like, this is not for me. Like I knew early on McDonald's was not for me, or I believed, obviously. And I also had a passion for, I knew that I would be a good lawyer. Like that's what I really wanted to do in my heart. So I did. And I was successful at it and I loved it. I really, really enjoyed being a lawyer. And so for me, And so I say that to say I'm having my, going to law school, having my legal career, mom is steadily growing.
Mhm.
So by the time fast forward to 2013, my son Caleb is 1. I had moved home from the Bay Area to be with my now husband.
Mhm.
We, had this, I moved, of course, before I had the baby. So I'm closer to my sister, and we always have been very close. I see my mom and my sister in this business. I'm going to some of like their work, their
Yeah.
holiday parties.
And so your sister did choose to go directly into McDonald's.
No,
after.
she
No.
also had a 10+ year career in social work.
Oh, so she
Like
went
my
to
mom.
mama's old.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
Okay.
So she graduated from her master's program in 94 and then didn't join mom until 2003.
Okay. And did both you guys join at the same time?
No, 2003 and 2013, 10 years
Oh,
apart.
dang.
Yeah.
So did your sister start planting little seeds of come join?
Well,
come
kind
join"?
of. And it was
Leave it to a
like,
sister to do
leave
that.
it to a big sister, right? She was, and I'm observing. Like, there's no substitute for seeing. Well, first of all, any person who's ever been in a family business, but McDonald's especially, I would be around them, and that's all they want to talk about is McDonald's and this employee and this meeting and this election. And I was like, all you guys ever do talk about McDonald's. It's driving me crazy. But
Be like Thanksgivings.
Thanksgiving is talking about McDonald's over the turkey. Can we just eat the turkey and the
Did
yams?
they ever beef at all? Like dinners over McDonald's?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I know, sorry.
Yeah,
but
all right.
I know that would have been an exciting story. But
Well, knowing your family, no
I know.
disrespect. Y'all wasn't talking about emotions anyway.
we weren't. And I mean,
Yeah.
trust me,
Yeah.
when we weren't beef. There's no beef with Patricia. Like, you don't beef with her.
Oh, that's your mama?
Yes. You roll with what Patricia is doing, or you hit the road.
Okay.
So it wasn't no room for beefing.
So how many McDonald's did your sister and your mother before you
13.
13. Now they at 21, right?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So you joined the squad. Now, are they receptive to you, or are they like, girlfriend, we're gonna tell you what is done, and if you don't listen, we told you so?
I mean, that's like the best question, right? Because they welcomed me, and I was like, great, here's all the things that we need to do now that I'm here. I'm an employment lawyer expert, so this is what we need to do. And
you were in employment law
I was
in
an employment
California.
lawyer.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's actually great.
It was
That was a great asset to the team.
the biggest asset.
Yeah,
So I'm walking in there
Yeah.
like, oh, guess what? No. So first of all, on day one, like everybody else, I started on fries. Like
What?
everybody else. Day one,
The attorney.
So I
employment
literally-
law started on fries.
I was a senior director at 24 Hour Fitness. I had responsibility for half of the United States.
Okay.
On Friday, and then on Monday, I was
sorry.
working the fries.
I'm sorry. Can I say this? But why we gotta do you like that? Why they had to do you like? Is that like? Do you think that's a black people thing? Do you think
No.
what they did was right? Cause it's hilarious.
Let me tell you why it matters and why I would not have done it any differently, because it was
Really?
literally fries. I went through all the stations. Because everybody knew when I came in that I was on the track to become an owner operator. But if I can't come in and tell you how to work
Yeah.
fries if I've never worked fries and sucked at it and then had to take a few weeks to get good at it. Same thing for the cashier window. Same thing for the kitchen.
But
I
they
worked
really
kitchen.
put you through all that.
I got there at 4 a.m. and did prep.
You didn't have no attitude.
I worked overnight.
No
I
attitude.
did all the things.
No cursing out. No hangups. Come
No.
on now.
What could I say? I don't know nothing.
But you worked there when you was a teenager.
Like 15 years before that. I don't care.
Let me
for
tell you
nothing.
something. Okay, sidebar. Okay, guys. I worked at McDonald's as my first job, okay?
Yeah.
That job is hard, okay? French fries, the burgers, the little cheese, the egg that comes out of the carton, all that shit was hard. I burned myself on the dang flat oven thing.
Burned the shit.
The cashier job was hard. There was not one position at McDonald's that was not hard. By the time I was done with McDonald's, I was permanently banned because I was a prankster, had a big mouth. That I couldn't even order food when I was done. I still am ashamed to pull up in that McDonald's. But Damn, they didn't have to do you like that. Because you know, if you did it in high school, that job was hard. They sent you back to concentration camp of HELL on fries at your level. That's dope of you to like take it as a badge of honor and brag about the fact that you had to start at the French fries.
First of all, can I pause to say,
That's crazy.
do you know that you are 1 in 8? 1 in 8
No, you
of
didn't.
all Americans have worked at McDonald's. And
Damn.
I am going to...
Oh, by the way, Neo has too.
Yeah, lots of people
Mhm.
have. Jeff Bezos, Amazon, worked at
Really?
McDonald's.
Damn, you sound like a McDonald's commercial. Oh, by the way, guys, we are not going to end the interview without me talking about the apps and all that because I want to get to know when I go. I'm gonna get this. Don't let me
Okay.
close out without talking about these apps that are
Okay.
saving people a lot of money.
Oh,
I want to know
definitely.
from your perspective how it feel. But
Yes.
for the going back, so you working the fries.
Mhm.
Your sister ain't walking by you doing Snickers jokes, nothing.
No, she stayed out of there because we knew that. So I didn't want people, I didn't want people to think I was getting special treatment because who respects that? Who respects the boss's kid who
Did
gets
they know
special
you were-
treatment?
Did they know you? Were
Of course they did.
Oh, they knew it.
They knew. How could they not? Because the general manager is like, oh shit, I got to train the boss's daughter. Like, so she, but I will give her credit. She kept it real. She told me when I was, you're slow or you're extra. Like look, girl,
do you
get
like
it
her?
together. I love her. She is now one of our key areas. She's been promoted since then. She's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, you sound like a good. Okay, so
I have to
what's
earn-
your most hated job at McDonald's? Because I gotta hear something negative. What's the job you hate the most?
The hardest job to me at McDonald's is working second lane of drive-through because you are taking orders in your headset and you're making all of the drinks for the drive-through.
Oh yeah, I seen that the other day. That was crazy. I seen a girl do that.
So imagine, and what I didn't realize until I had to do it, breakfast time. So your drive-through is full of people. A large coffee, 3 sugars, 1 cream. Do you want it on the side? Okay. Medium coffee, no sugar, no cream. Iced coffee, frappe, all that stuff while you're taking orders and making sure it is so complex.
Now,
Hard.
damn, I should have wrote down some of my McDonald's questions. I had some good ones too. Was McDonald's the one that got sued? I hate to do this to you. Who got sued for the hot coffee years? This was like way when I was
McDonald's
a kid. It
for
was
sure.
McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
But is McDonald's?
If there's a lawsuit in fast food, it's McDonald's because we're the biggest. So
Okay.
we're the target.
And then I'll never forget that. I was a little kid and I said, that's the dumbest lawsuit I ever heard of
Man.
in all the time. Talk about
Yep.
it's too hot. But what is your most profitable? I know I'm sidebarring the hell out of this, but
That's
I'm
all
gonna do it. What's the most profitable item at McDonald's?
Soda.
I knew it. Let me just tell you something. Nothing bothers me more. Okay, I am Jewish and Jamaican. I'm gonna repeat it 100 times over. Okay, nothing bothers me more than people that are sucky at finance. I had friends. I got rich friends, stupid rich. Like, yo, can you hear me on that side of the house? Then I got my broke friends. I'll show you the difference instantly. Okay, I'll be on the phone with my rich friends. They talking about taking over the world. Whatever. My broke friends, what you doing? Can I get a large Sprite for $4.50? Are you in your car? You can go to the 7-Eleven, Ralph's? What are we even talking? You are spending $4 or $5 on a soda? I mean, don't discriminate on what I did earlier with you with the horchata, okay? Because we needed ice for our situation.
We did.
So I paid $7 for 2 cups, okay? If you wasn't with me, girl, I would have been like, can I get a little plastic cup with the ice, okay? Just know your presence earned that $7, okay? But
I'm
it
grateful for that
baffles me
$7.
that soda. I thought it was your coffee that was the most profitable.
Coffee is up there too.
Okay. And then since we here at it, okay. When you go on the app, they have the $1.49 large fries, which, by the way, is Jesus on wheels. Okay, because I mean, we all know, if you eat beef, it's the Big Mac, in my opinion. But it's the French fries all day. I don't know what kind of crack you put in the salt.
None. No crack.
Oh, sorry. I should have even said that. Sorry.
No crack in the fries.
No crack in the fries. Sorry. The fries are so damn good. I don't know. It's the size, the shape. Even when you try to buy the imitation frozen fries at the store, they still don't come out as good as McDonald's fries. But when I use that app, it gives it to me for $1.49. Does it annoy you if you have a customer that only pulls into the window to use the app for the $1.49 fries?
No. You know why? Because you keep coming back for the $1.49 fries. And sometimes you're not just going to get those fries. Sometimes you're going to have your baby with you, and she's going to be like, Mommy, can I get a Happy Meal? Or whatever it is. So, no, come for all the deals. The best deals are in the app.
The best deals are in the app. And I actually wanted to do at some point, I think McDonald's was the first one. Someone put me onto it. But I do try I purposely, the financial savvy in me tries not to spend out of the $1.49. But then recently, I don't know when, but y'all started saying $2 off the Happy Meal because I really buy the fries for her. And I'm like, they got me. But I try not to drink a sweet beverage. So I try to avoid it. But I will admit, it's always the $1.49 fries, but my daughter never eats the nuggets, never eats anything else. So now, every once in a while, when I'm trying to force her there, I will do the Happy Meal and enjoy a high C orange. And by the way, you guys added the high C orange with the vanilla and flavors. But I did want to say, back in the day when I used to do the drinks at McDonald's, they didn't pre-measure them. So is it really that hard when the second person's taking the order and they push a button and then like circle? Come on. You know what I'm talking about. Those little machines, you push a button, they put the ice in and they put the drink in. At least that's what they tell me when I put too much ice, man.
Yeah.
Maybe that gets
But
pre-measured.
that's just the cold soft, that's just soft drinks. We have a lot of different drinks that we sell. We do frappes, we do we would also do the McFlurries, which is not a drink, but shakes. We do coffee, we do iced coffee, we do tea, we do orange juice. Like, there's a lot of different drinks there. That machine, yes, is helpful. But and even all the other the drinks are machine assisted. But when you've got a rush hour and you're going and going, and then you have 3 people in the car that are all ordering coffee and all the coffees are different.
So what's your biggest pet peeve from a customer? Since you've got to wear all hats, well, what are your if you don't know it, but what is like your staff come back as your biggest pet peeve?
Being disrespectful to our people and putting them down.
At what area do they do that?
I'll tell you.
No, I'm saying like, how do they do that? Like give me a Big Mac and throw some extra fries in. How are you giving mean to? How are you giving mean to the people that handle your food, people?
Right. One would think. Okay, let me tell you. Now, you know, I've gone to good school. I'm a very educated woman. I have lots of experience, right? When I was in the restaurants one day, somebody came in. I knew that he was lying about an order that he supposedly had placed. He wanted a refund. And I said, no, I'm sorry, sir. You know, I can't give you this refund. And he said, you're so stupid. That's why you work at McDonald's anyway.
Did you hit him with, yeah, that's why I own 21 of these bitches? No, that would have been me. I would have been the one, okay? Did you eye roll because you knew it? Did you eye roll because you was like, you had no idea?
You have no idea. I just smiled and said, thank you, sir. Have a nice day. Because I have enough education and I'm not stupid
I
to
love
do
that
such
you
things.
handled it like that. I know that was your secret inner confidence, like, joke's on you.
Right.
Okay.
So, and people, you know what? You would be shocked what angers people.
What angers them? Tell me.
They can't be heard through the headset, and so our people may say, "I'm sorry, can you repeat that?" I already said it. You know, and people,
sorry.
and I mean, not just like
McDonald's,
okay,
you should have like a McDonald's just. That sounds sorry. I'm sorry. Why are we doing this to McDonald's, people?
Right.
All right, go
our
on more.
people
I want
are
to hear
so
more.
nice.
I want to hear more.
You know, let's say our people are human. We make a mistake on an order. You should, let's say we gave them strawberry jelly instead of grape jelly. I didn't want this effing jam. They'll throw it at people. I mean, people get mad about what I consider very small things. Do we want to get it right every time? Yes. We always want to be perfect.
That's kind of sad and scary, though.
It's really unfortunate, like that people feel like they can just say and do anything to our people.
So how do you deal with it when, like, say an employee's having a rough day, and then someone comes in and just a complete obnoxious? Because we all don't wake up with butterflies over our head. But like, what if a staff's having a rough time and then this sends them over? How do you guys handle those situations?
Depends on how they handle it. So our position is you definitely have the right to have feelings. If you need to go in the walk-in refrigerator and scream and be mad and yell, you're welcome to do that. But you can't at the same time disrespect a customer back. That's not what we're able to do. We can't allow you to do that. But you can remove yourself from the situation. We can remove the customer from the restaurant. We'll call the police if we need to. So we're certainly not like go out there and subject yourself to insanity. Walk away, call a manager, get support, go to the back. Don't engage.
Yeah.
Because it's the engagement that will get you in trouble. Remove yourself, get yourself and whomever else into a safe or quiet or just a removed space, and then, let the manager handle it.
When I worked at McDonald's, I used to steal the chicken nuggets. I don't know why I confess that. I confess it because I want to know.
I confess that.
Kerrie, I have to know. You at McDonald's, it's late. Got a little hunger in you. What you taking to eat from McDonald's?
Secretly, nothing. You cannot steal the food.
I mean, like, okay. Obviously,
okay. If you want to restate the question.
Okay,
I'm happy to
I love how
answer.
you see it. By the way, don't judge me, everybody. I was poor growing up, teenager. Come on now. A chicken nugget here and there. It wasn't like I was stealing a 10-piece, But you cooking them, you may want to sample the goods.
So let me say this.
What's your favorite item?
I was going to go back to your declaration that the Big Mac is the best burger, the double cheeseburger, head to head every time. The double cheeseburger. It's the 2 patties and the 2 slices of cheese that take it to the next level.
Do you ever add the Big Mac sauce to it, though?
No.
Oh, you
It's the ketchup and mustard. Delicious. Mustard. You even brought the ketchup.
You know what? As I got older, you're right. The double cheeseburger is hitting, but I've never, I don't think, ever ordered the double cheeseburger without the Big Mac sauce.
Okay, that's fair.
With the Big Mac
People
sauce,
do love that. I have a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, and as a Christmas gift one time, I gave him a container of Big Mac sauce.
Yo, can I be on that list? Can I be on that list? Can I please be on that list? Oh, heck yeah.
And you know what I didn't do? I did not sneak it out. I actually paid for it.
You could buy it in containers?
No. I mean, I can because I can say, hey, charge me for this and, But if you,
Okay,
now that I know, just make sure you watch your
I feel bad admitting
mailbox.
this stuff to you. It's like, I feel like sickly, but, like a sick feeling is like, this is good and bad. I get to say this.
I'm enjoying this mech confessional. Okay, it's lovely.
Stuff that irritates me about fast food. I mean, this is the only thing that makes me irritated at fast food is, hey guys, can I have an extra barbecue sauce, Big Macs, whatever sauce in a little container? I ain't gonna lie, it takes a lot to get me irritated. But I usually pay for everything with card. Everything. Like, now that they have the phone on the wallet and the key on the wallet on the phone,
yes,
forget it. Even though it takes forever to open your car with the little app, I'll stand out there for that minute if it means I don't have to carry a bag or a purse or wallet. But I will pay for everything with a card. And nothing irritates me more than, you want an extra ranch? 25 cents.
Oh.
Why? Why did they have to put that rule? McDonald's has that rule, right?
I'm going to be honest and say we very specifically don't do that in our restaurants.
Oh, 21 McDonald's.
Right.
Oh, where are they located? Where is those McDonald's? Yeah, right there. You just set yourself apart.
Yeah.
21 McDonald's in
No.
California do not charge you the 25-cent fee. I'm telling you right now, you just
Yeah.
gained a whole fan base because I know there's other people that can really relate to that. You know what I'm talking about?
No, we don't. I mean, now, let me be honest. If you come in and you ask for 10, 15, 20 sauces,
Of course.
I'm not rolling with that.
Yeah.
Right? Because we do have cost. That there is
Yeah.
an actual cost associated with that cup of sauce.
Yeah.
But if you're like, hey, can I get an extra ranch? Our people are not charging for that.
Yeah.
They should not be. And so if you do get charged, call me or call my office.
Call her office.
Yes.
She's trackable now because she got a book, y'all. She got a book. The Family Secret out. Check it out. I want to check it out. One last. Let me see. I had so many good ones. I try not to eat out a lot of fast food.
Mm-hmm.
Just another sidebar. I don't know if this happens to you at the grocery store, and it irritates me too. You guys get to check out, and they be like, "How many bags you want?" Does it irritate at least you?
It is frustrating. And oftentimes in outrage, I'll just say no, and then I'll hobble out with all of my groceries.
I'm glad to hear you say that. 21 McDonald's, that she will hobble out that store.
I will hobble. I'm pretty sure I just did it at Target yesterday.
I thought you were going to say, I always carry my bag.
No, I mean, I try to carry my, but who can remember?
No,
you can't remember that.
no.
So I've hobbled plenty. My husband's always like, get a bag. And I'm like, I'm not getting a bag.
Okay.
But I will tell you, it's government regulation. That is 100%.
That's the attorney. See,
what
that's
it
the
is.
attorney in her. So
It's
I'm sure this book
true.
is going to be good, guys. You better go out there and get it because ain't nothing. So now you since joining on, you've added, what is that? 7? What's 13
no.
plus 21 minus 13? Come on, 8.
Yes, close.
8 more McDonald's been added to the
Mhm.
legacy. How does that feel? How does it feel?
You know what's, I mean, that's such a good question because when I joined the family business, my mom and my sister were already rock stars.
Mhm.
They were very successful. And so for me, a lot of it was like, where do I add value here? And I did feel very lucky that I was able to bring employment law skills. But now that we've expanded now to 21, I feel like I'm more able to take ownership in this growth. I was a part of those decisions. The fact that we felt comfortable growing is because we felt able as a sister partnership to take this on. We've now built a team. We are the DO, that the director of operations that my mother had has retired. Nicole and I hired our new DO.
What does that mean?
Director of operations. So that is the person in our organization. He's the only person who reports directly to us. He is responsible for the
you led right into my
operations.
next question.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's okay.
What's a day in the life of y'all? And when you do the splits, I hate to do this to you. Is it like, well, you kind of just answered that question indirectly with the director of operations, but did you guys do like, you run this set and I run this set, or did it be like, I'm good in this area, I'm good in this area, and I'm good, and then we manage all together?
The latter. Sometimes I forget which restaurants Nicole owns and which ones I own. But we do own them all separately, 100% each. So I own 100% of the interest in all of my restaurants, and she owns 100% of the interest in her restaurants.
And then what is your mom?
My mom is retired.
So did you guys split the ones that she 100% owned?
We did.
I love that you said the best line of all of this, the Jay-Z of all lines. The best line I heard of all this shit just now, sorry for cursing, I respect you so much, is I forget which restaurants I own. I can't even remember which ones she owned. We be forgetting all the time. That's the best. Do you know that's a boss line right there? You could wear that on. I forget which restaurants I own. It should be on a shirt.
That's how connected we are. We are one organization.
Either that or that's just how boss you are. Shit.
I'll take that too.
No, that is a good testament to how connected you are. So like, are you able to pop into each other's stores and stuff?
All the time.
So what's
all
a day
the
in the
time.
life of you?
without being, an asshole, there is no typical day. But
Got it.
what I will say is our goal is to create situations where the people in our restaurants are so successful they don't need for us to be there. If I am working fries, literally something has gone catastrophically wrong,
Got
right?
it.
So for us, most of my working days are going to be in the office. We have an office HQ in Carson.
Is it like your own office or is it like McDonald's? And I'm trying to
No,
paint a
it's
picture.
just us. The front of it says Way, because we've gone through a lot of changes. Williams, my sister's first married name was Kerrie Harper-Howey. Way Enterprises. That's the name of our building. And we occupy the front half of it. We're actually building out the second half. I'm creating what I hope will be a gallery space for my mother's artwork that used to be in the home she owned.
Okay.
It's not valuable, but it's meaningful to our family. And so I'm trying to transform that space to be something beautiful. So most of my days I spend in my office where we do have an administrative team and where we have a training room and then a conference room where we'll do, meetings depending on the size of the meeting. And we also, so the way that McDonald's is set up is that there are a lot of local, regional, and national leadership opportunities. So we have groups of leadership bodies. And between Nicole and I, we're both in leadership on a multiple of those groups. So for example, Nicole is the vice chair of our Field Alignment Council. So that may take her to Las Vegas or to have a meeting to go through to decide whatever that group's area of responsibility is.
Okay.
I'm also on the Field Alignment Council in a different role, but she does that. I'm the president of our local Black McDonald's Owners Association, our local chapter.
I almost caught you that way. Okay, yeah. I knew some people that could have bumped into you that way. All right,
Yeah.
now.
So I might be working with one of our advertising agencies to put together an event for Black History Month or for, supporting a local community organization, doing a PR activation in an African American consumer market restaurant. So we're both in a lot of leadership. So I pretty much travel about 2 weeks out of the month to different meetings. A lot of our meetings are in Chicago, which is where McDonald's headquarters is. But I'm not going to a meeting that another organization I'm in, a McDonald's organization, they're having a board meeting. So I'm on the board in Alabama because I have another meeting the following week. And I'm like, I can't be away from my family for 2 straight weeks.
Yeah. So when you're gone for a week, it's like the whole week.
It will typically be Tuesday to Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Depending.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm usually, Monday, Friday, I'm usually home, and weekends, of course. But it'll usually be anywhere from 2 to 3 days.
What is the worst hat you've ever worn as a McDonald's? Everything.
The worst hat? Okay, I'll say this. I won't go into any specific details, but I'll say there are moments in time when I'm in meetings, and not because I'm Black or because I'm a woman, but because of the nature of the relationships in franchising, where I don't feel like my opinions are having an impact. So I was on a team that met pretty regularly, and we were supposed to be deciding things as it related to our restaurants. And I felt very frustrated because I didn't feel like I was being impactful and that the things that I had to say, which I felt were pretty right, were valued and being taken into consideration. I was on that team for probably about 2 years. And then I had to get off that team because I can't be in any space. I get that I have to be there. Like, I'm into paying my dues, where, as you can see, I believe paying my dues, listening and learning. But at a certain point, I'm transferring from learning to contributing.
Yeah.
And I need to be an actual contributor. And I know that I have good thoughts and ideas. And if they're not being received consistently, not all of them, but consistently, those ideas are not being received or listened to, I have to get out of that space. So that's probably been my most difficult McDonald's experience.
When you explain the McDonald's situation, it almost feels like, because when I think of a McDonald's franchisee owner, I think, okay, I know McDonald's headquarters owns like the land, right?
Most of the time.
Well,
The vast majority. Sometimes they lease spaces.
oh, okay.
Yes,
okay,
but
okay.
they'll have
I
a
thought
lease.
you were about to say we own some of the properties.
No.
Like,
That would be amazing. Not quite. No,
Sorry.
we're specifically not allowed to do that. Yes.
So, but when you talk about you being on this National Black and she's on this field,
yes,
I'm not gonna get perfect.
I know
at the
where you're
review.
going.
It's a little confusing me because it seems like McDonald's has like you guys are the franchise owner, and then you guys encouraged to take on these additional responsibilities, or is it like you build up points, or is it like you own this restaurant, so now you have to pick your slot commitment? Like how come you guys have all these little extra legs?
I'll be honest and say we honestly see it as an opportunity because what it does is, first of all, on a lot of so let's take the NBMOA.
The what?
National Black McDonald's Owners
Okay.
Association. Sorry. It's an advocacy group, which means that when you're meeting, first of all, when you're meeting with them, you're connecting with other Black franchisees. I consider that to be an opportunity because
that's
we
amazing.
right? So that's an opportunity. If you're in leadership, then you have a say in the running of that organization. So you can say, hey, this is happening to us franchisees in California. We need your help in this way, national leadership of NBMOA. The
What NBMOA stands for?
National Black McDonald's
got it.
Owners
Sorry,
Association.
okay.
Sorry, I'll try to say that. It's just hard to say the full title.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering. So you report on the local level to the national level, and then they go to the
correct. So the chairs of all of the diversity groups. There's diversity groups for all of the Black, Asian, Hispanic, Pride.
Do the white people have
women?
I'm just curious.
So.
We're like, come on, we got white privilege. What are you talking about? Sorry.
I can't. I don't know how to answer that
terrible.
question.
I'm sorry. That was
okay.
really low.
So let me go back to what my answer was.
We are McDonald's.
Let me say I work with a number of wonderful white colleagues in a variety of different ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. So all of those individuals who lead our national organizations, they are part of a larger leadership group that meets with McDonald's leadership.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a voice. And so we call ourselves three legs of the stool: franchisees, the corporation, and our vendors. Without all three of us, we can't survive. If one of those legs is jacked up, COVID, the supply chain got all jacked up, we had to figure out how to figure everything
vendors,
out.
The franchisees.
Suppliers, franchisees, and the corporation.
The suppliers. What does suppliers mean?
Like vendors, basically. But we just call them suppliers in our world.
The suppliers? The
suppliers, franchisees, corporation.
Corporation is McDonald's. Franchises, got it.
Yes. So we all have to work together. So we're organized as franchisee organizations, and then we always have corporate counterparts, that we work with in order to try to figure out issues in the system, because we own 95% of the restaurants, so we know the field better than anybody else. The corporation has, they're the franchisor, so they have ultimate deciding power in a lot of different things. So we have to work together to make sure that everybody's goals and objectives are being met.
I can tell why McDonald's is successful off this conversation. It's very well structured. It sounds very sound, very systematic. Shout outs to McDonald's. You guys are my favorite fast food place, the French fries. And the fact that you serve Coke, because I think it's Burger King. One of them sell Pepsi.
And
I don't know
Coke
which
and
one
Sprite
it
are
is.
like the best.
Yeah, you guys mix it very well.
Yes.
Don't tell trainers or anybody that works out with me. I have to ask this. I'm sorry, Jay. I know we're over. The next question I had was, you're in the franchise business. Have you looked at other franchises? I know Chick-fil-A has like a lottery system. Did you hear about that?
No.
So I heard through the grapevine that to own a Chick-fil-A, it's $10,000. They do splits, and it's a lottery. You work in there and you enter the lottery. So the one on Hollywood, I remember the guy that won that one, he was like 27 at the time. So you don't know about that?
The only thing I honestly know, I do know that their price point to entry is lower than if you're what's called a registered applicant for McDonald's. I also know that a part of that is because their profit sharing model is different, although I don't know the details of theirs. I had a friend who applied to be a Chick-fil-A franchisee and it didn't work out for her. So I thought that it was just a similar application process. I've never known anything about a lottery or anything. So I don't honestly know too
I
much
heard
about
it's
it.
like you have to work in there. You enter a lottery from like being an employee. And then once you're picked, then you have to follow the steps or whatever. But they definitely have a back end that's a little different on the profit splits, but the initial going is lower. But it is you have to work in there. For someone sitting at home, a McDonald's fan, could be a McDonald's employee. I want you to tell us, ooh, girlfriend, how we could not just we want to get to 21. We got to surpass you, okay? But how do we get to our first one? For anyone out there listening, what advice would you give realistically on what their chances are and what they'd have to do to get their hat in the race?
The first step is to make sure that you are financially clean. Is your credit good?
Check.
Do you have a history of saving?
Yes.
Do you have a pretty substantial liquid amount of savings at your disposal?
I mean, I have a house. Equity.
Okay.
Got like a lot of equity.
Okay. That's great.
Hey, look. Guys.
Okay.
Hey, okay.
Start there.
Okay.
That's number one. 2, are you as an individual cool? Are you clean? Do you have a criminal record?
Nope.
Do you have any sort of like degree history? Do you have a college degree, an AA, a BA, or whatever? You don't have to, but all of that stuff helps because
I don't have that, guys.
Your next step is going to be to fill out the application.
But don't you have? How do you get into? You don't have to work at McDonald's.
Nope.
What about
not before you apply? No.
What about Hamburger University? How does that work?
You get to Hamburger University when you're ready to become a general manager. It's our general manager training class.
But if you say you have, girl, you got me excited.
Yeah.
But wait, okay, so I got an 850 FICO. I'm hella good with money. Kind of cheap, but ran businesses, no college degree. I have some liquid cash, but I ain't gonna lie, I have a lot of money in equity because I pay off my house way too fast. What else did you say? I needed
criminal record?
No criminal record, except for stealing like nuggets when I was 16. But hey, never been
That's
caught.
not a record. So that's
no
just
criminal record.
So that shows you're honest. That's a good
I have
thing,
a lot
right?
of integrity.
Yes.
I admit to my misdoings. Clearly, I stole candy. I'm gonna say it. I stole candy for me and my siblings. Okay. I admitted to it because I got caught and I didn't snitch on my siblings. You know what my parents did? I swear to God, Jamaican mother, Jewish father, who's afraid of the Jamaican mother. She said, take her butt to the police. They took me to the police station. They took me to the store. I had to apologize. Then I had to go to the police, tell them of my misfortune for 3 candy bars. And I'll tell you right now, my siblings, listen, it was a Reese's, it was a Butterfinger, and I think like a Twix, okay? I had 3 siblings. It was 1 for each of us.
Aww.
Did not snitch, and I got punished. And it was humiliating. And I promise you, I ain't never stole since.
Wow.
That's crazy, right? That's what I'm saying. You think we're going to do that to Zariah and Caleb?
No.
No. Okay. No. Anyways, thank you so much. But before we close out, I want for everyone that's listening to this interview, The Family Secret is out. What can they learn from The Family Secret? It says the Business and Franchise Owner's Guide to Building Generational Wealth. What can we learn from this book in just a snapshot? And you can say it directly.
Sure. Some major takeaways are going to be figuring out what your thrive factors are. That's a phrase that I kind of coined to help you figure out where your passion and your purpose intersect. Before you can enter a family business, you need to figure out what that is and then assess whether or not your family business can meet your personal thrive factors. You're also going to learn a lot about how to build and expand a business, whether it's a family business or not. You're going to learn a lot about succession planning, which includes both passing it on to another family member or passing it on to someone outside of your family. And you're also going to get some information really truthfully about what it means to put your family first. One of my favorite chapters in the book is chapter 18, which is called The House Always Wins. And in that chapter, I talk about what it means to make sure that no matter what, at the end of the day, your family and your family relationships come first. And I talk about how you can make sure that you do that. So that's kind of a brief snapshot of the family secrets. And at the very end, there's a bit of a checklist, and you can decide, do I want to get involved in a family business? Do I want to create a family business? Do I want to take over a family business? I give you some tips and thoughts about what you can consider as you're making that determination.
And this book looks like more than like, even if you're like, I love business books, but one of the chapters I said like be an expert on the competition, I think.
Yeah.
Like this just sounds like a really all the way around great business book.
And I will tell you, the feedback that I get most often is I loved the family stories that you told, because all in here is background, history, and quite honestly, inspiration relating to my mom's story, relating to my sister and I, how we kind of came in. And then I also interviewed several other family businesses to find out their secrets to success, because it's not just our secret, but there are things that are common to businesses that anyone can really take into account. So people love the stories. There's a lot of stories.
Yeah, look
in
at
there.
this. It says, know when the only solution is vulnerable communication. This book sounds amazing. Just looking at the chapters, and right now you can read it, but very soon it will be on audio for all y'all audio listeners. I am super grateful. I promise you, you could read text between my group chats. I was over the hill when I found out I was going to get this interview. I've been bragging to everybody and their mama about this interview, so I am thankful for your vulnerability. I'm also thankful that you fed me. I'm thankful to know that if eating while broke don't work out, you know, you never know. I may try and go to Hamburger University, stay in the broke lane. But no, thank you so much for everything, every minute of you. And I promise you, like, you are just incredible. Like, we are soul sisters on another level. And by the way, if you guys see me sweating back here, I found out our AC went out. A little backstory. Our AC went out, and I called your publicist, and I said, oh, my God, it's 85 degrees in here. If she cancels, I totally understand. I will be devastated. Do you think if she cancels, but she probably is going to cancel because anybody would cancel, you know. And Kerrie didn't cancel. She didn't. She showed up. I told my producer, it's going to suck for you today because, I don't think we have enough time to go buy fans. But everyone's, I just want you to know that, like, no matter how big someone is or out of reach or what have you, they're still human and they understand the mission. And I really appreciate that you came out.
I'm so grateful to have been here today, to have been able to share with you. You're so authentic, and you've been so welcoming and kind and sharing stories with me, like your real life. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that. I am truly over the moon, and I'm so grateful.
Thank you. And hopefully we go see you at every other podcast on the Black Effect. All right? Peace out, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.